Welcome, Ukraine War Update today. Ukraine needs new weapons and faster deliveries to confront a very tough situation of constant attacks by Russian forces in the eastern Donetsk region, President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Sunday. Meanwhile, Russian shelling of residential areas in Ukraine's southern city of Kherson left at least 3 people dead, local authorities said. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg urged South Korea on Monday to increase military support to Ukraine, referring to countries that have changed their policy of not providing weapons to countries in conflict after Russia's invasion. Stoltenberg is currently in Seoul, the first stop on a trip that will include Japan and is aimed at strengthening ties with the U.S. allies in the face of the war in Ukraine and rising competition with China. Russia's war in Ukraine is expected to weigh on long-term energy demand and accelerate the world's shift to renewables and low-carbon power as countries boost domestic energy supplies, BP said in a report on Monday. In its benchmark 2023 energy outlook, BP plc said the Ukraine war will slow global economic activity by 2035 by around 3% compared with last year's forecast due to higher food and energy prices as well as reduced trade activity. President Vladimir Putin threatened to personally target Boris Johnson with a missile attack just before ordering Russian forces into Ukraine, the former UK Prime Minister has claimed. The apparent threat came in a phone call just ahead of the invasion on February 24, according to a new BBC documentary to be broadcast on Monday. He sort of threatened me at one point and said, "Boris, I don't want to hurt you, but with a missile, it would only take a minute," or something like that, Johnson quoted Putin as saying. Friends and volunteers gathered Sunday at Kiev's St. Sophia's Cathedral to say goodbye to Andrew Bagshaw, a New Zealand scientist who was killed in Ukraine with another volunteer while they were trying to evacuate people from a frontline town. Bagshaw, 48, a dual New Zealand-British citizen, and British volunteer Christopher Perry, 28, went missing this month while heading to the town of Soledar, in the eastern Donetsk region, where heavy fighting was taking place. A missile hit an apartment building on Sunday in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second city, and rescue teams were dispatched to the scene, Regional Governor Ola Synhubov said. An enemy rocket has struck an apartment building in the city center, in Kiev district, Synhubov said on Telegram. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz reiterated Sunday that Germany will not send fighter jets to Ukraine, as Kiev steps up calls for more advanced weapons from the West to help repel Russia's invasion. Scholz only just agreed on Wednesday to send 14 Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine and to allow other European countries to send theirs, after weeks of intense debate and mounting pressure from allies. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Sunday that allowing Russia to compete at the 2024 Paris Games was tantamount to showing that terror is somehow acceptable. Attempts by the International Olympic Committee to bring Russian athletes back into the Olympic Games are attempts to tell the whole world that terror is somehow acceptable, Zelensky said in his nightly video address. He said Russia must not be allowed to use the Games or any other sport event as propaganda for its aggression or its state chauvinism. Ukraine is facing a very tough situation in the eastern Donetsk region and needs faster weapons supplies and new types of weaponry to withstand Russian attacks, President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Sunday. The situation is very tough. Bakhmut, Volodar, and other sectors in Donetsk region, there are constant Russian attacks, Zelensky said in his nightly video address. Russia wants the war to drag on and exhaust our forces. So we have to make time our weapon. We have to speed up events, speed up supplies, and open up new weapons options for Ukraine.